Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The proceedings in new parliament have begun. The first order of business in the new building was Narishakti Vandan Adhiniyam, the bill which will reserve 1/3 of seats for women in parliament and all legislative assemblies. With this, a credit war has also erupted between the Congress and the BJP, the grand old party claiming that this bill is effectively theirs and a brainchild of former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. They also reminded how such a bill was passed by Rajya Sabha first in 2010 when the UPA was in power. But of course, the BJP hit back saying the bill was never tabled in Lok Sabha by the same government back then, as Congress was never serious about it. Leaving that aside, almost all political parties have supported the intention of the bill, although there is the delimitation clause that is now being objected to. The bill states that the law will only come into effect after a delimitation exercise is completed. Now, this exercise will be based on the population according to the census that is conducted post-2026, which means the women's quota might come into effect only from 2029 general elections. The opposition is asking Centre to remove this clause so that the law can come into effect immediately after it is passed and becomes applicable even for the upcoming 2024 Lok Sabha polls. The bill will now be discussed in Lok Sabha tomorrow. Will the delimitation clause become the new bone of contention, big enough to derail it? We'll take that question to our guest joining us in just a bit. First up, I want to show you the visuals of how parliamentarians marched to the new Sansad building from the old one. There was a ceremony held, even a photo op session of all the parliamentarians in the old building, and then from that building, the Prime Minister led not just the Treasury benches but all parliamentarians who actually walked to the new Sansad Bhavan, and the old Parliament building is now going to be called Samvidhan Sadan, which is basically Constitution House. This was a historic shift marked today on the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. It was also a rare show of non-partisanship, where leaders of both the Treasury and the opposition benches reminisced about the journey India has made in the last 75 years of independence and the progress that is to be made in the next 25 years, when the government especially has set the vision of making India a developed nation by 2047. So these are those first images that transpired today. The Prime Minister, along with some of the other government ministers and the other parliamentarians of the Lok Sabha current, walking into the new Parliament building. Well, talking of non-partisanship, contours of the new Women's Reservation Bill finally came to light, and they seem to be throwing a little bit of a spoke in the wheels. Let's break down the clauses of the new reservation bill that was tabled today. So, of course, this talks about 1/3 of seats to be reserved for women in parliament in all state legislative assemblies, including the Assembly of the National Capital, Delhi. 1/3 of the seats reserved will be for SC/ST women. Remember, this has been one of those roadblocks that some parties have objected to, that because there is SC/ST quota already in parliament, in the women's quota also there should be a reservation for them. And these reserved seats for women will of course be on rotational basis, so they will rotate as they go along from session to session, one seat to another. Now this law, and this is where the problem could arise, will become effective only post a delimitation exercise, and as far as the bill is concerned will last for a period of 15 years. But there is a provision that the continuation of this quota will be subject to any law passed by Parliament. In other words, it can be extended by future governments. Let's also take a look at how opposition parties have reacted to this bill and why I'm saying that the delimitation clause could turn out to be a spoke in the wheel. First up, here's suspended MP of the Aam Aadmi Party, Raghav Chadha, who said that this bill has been framed without a will to execute it. This he said while pointing out to the delimitation clause. Similarly, Congress's Manish Tiwari also opposed this clause and tweeted that this bill is a betrayal of women's movement and struggle to get this reservation into a reality. Rajya Sabha MP, independent but of course with the support of the Samajwadi Party, Kapil Sibal has said that there is no quota for the OBCs under the Women Reservation Bill, which is a problem. And Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav also echoed the same, demanding that there should be a definite percentage as far as backward and minority women is concerned. This is of course a sentiment that has been echoed by the likes of Asaduddin Owaisi, AIMIM chief as well. With that, let's get straight to our debate. Will this delimitation clause become a bone of contention? But will it be a bone of contention big enough to derail this bill? That's coming up.
आज हमारे देश के लोकतांत्रिक इतिहास का एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण दिन है।
जो प्रथम और ऐतिहासिक सत्र है। लोकसभा और विधानसभाओं में महिलाओं की भागीदारी का विस्तार कर देगा। नारी शक्ति वंदन अधिनियम, इसके माध्यम से हमारा लोकतंत्र और मजबूत होगा। Constitution 128 Amendment Bill,
पहले ये बिल पास होगा, उसके बाद जनगणना होगी, उसके बाद डिलिमिटेशन होगा, उसके बाद महिलाओं का आरक्षण लागू होगा। इसका मतलब कम से कम 3-4 साल लगेंगे।
ये रिजर्वेशन 9.5 साल पहले भी, क्योंकि भारतीय जनता पार्टी के मैनिफेस्टो में था, पूर्ण बहुमत सरकार थी, बहुत सारी पार्टियों ने उनको वो वादा याद दिलाया। 9.5 साल बाद आ रहा है, भले ही लेट आया है, उम्मीद करती हूँ इमीडिएटली लागू होगा।
Let me go across to our guests joining us. Neeti Jain, spokesperson of the BJP, Meeta Chakrabarti from the Congress Party. I'm also joined by Krishank Mane from the BRS and Professor Naval Kishore, who's the RJD national spokesperson. Neeti, let me begin with you first up. The bill has been tabled today, and even though this was not originally in the agenda, it is a welcome surprise. Most parties are welcoming both the intention and the tabling of this bill. But the delimitation clause is being objected to. What is the justification of bringing this bill now, but then, keeping it in abeyance till a delimitation is done, which will certainly take at least 3 to 4 years, no more?
So you're asking me why has this been tabled now?
No, I'm saying, what do you think, according to you, as the member of the BJP, is the justification of bringing this bill now, but adding this delimitation clause, which means it will only be effective in another few years and certainly not before, for this election or upcoming elections?
Shivani, as far as the opposition is concerned, I think they just need a reason to bring about, a spoke in the wheel, as you put it, in everything that this government does. They have been raising questions about everything since the morning. There has been a debate upon whose bill is it, who is going to get the credit for this entire thing. The entire opposition sitting here for this bill has completely been non-committal in being able to pass it. So the BJP has probably been the only party. Ms. Chaturvedi's statement right before I started speaking, she said, "Hamare manifesto mein 9 saal se tha. Why did it not happen?" Because for the past 9 years, Modi ji has been ensuring the financial empowerment of women, social empowerment of women by different schemes like Mudra Yojana, Stand Up, Jan Dhan, and a lot of women have benefited from that. I'll give you the numbers if you give me the time.
No, fair enough. We get that. But let's come to the issue that I'm discussing.
The delimitation, see, all the details in this matter are going to be discussed tomorrow. I am not going to speculate on that matter, but there is a process for everything. There is a bill that has been passed, and there are certain circumstances that need to be taken care of before. You cannot haphazardly implement something and then regret it later. So this is a bill that has been passed. Let the opposition come in tomorrow and ask all of these questions and get a clarity from the government.
Okay. Well, the bill is going to be discussed tomorrow in detail in Lok Sabha first, and hopefully we will get an explanation as to why the government felt that this should come into effect only post the delimitation exercise, which has been pending and which, of course, is one of those reasons the new parliament building has been built, because the number of representatives are going to increase. But let me take first comments from Meeta Chakrabarti as well. Is this delimitation clause a deal breaker for the Congress party, or do you feel that that is only a minor issue? Fundamentally, what is more important is that a bill like this gets passed, even if it was to kick in only from, let's say, 2029?
Good evening to all your viewers and good evening to all the fellow panelists. Now, it has been a long-standing demand of Indian National Congress to get this Women Reservation Bill passed. Let us not forget that in 1998, it was Rajiv Gandhi ji who introduced the idea of having women reservation in Panchayat as well as urban local body elections, which later got implemented by P.V. Narasimha Rao ji, another Congress Prime Minister. And then later on, I think it was in UPA 2 during Dr. Manmohan Singh's regime, and when Mrs. Sonia Gandhi was the UPA chairperson in 2010, that this bill actually got passed in Rajya Sabha. We didn't have the required numbers
forgot
at that
the
time.
NDA government in between that also tabled this bill multiple times.
Multiple times, but did not manage to get it passed.
You didn't manage to get it passed either.
We managed to get it passed. We managed, if you can
one by one,
give me
Niti,
some
let her finish.
uninterrupted time.
Yeah.
If you can give me some uninterrupted time, please. In 2010, we did manage to get it passed in Rajya Sabha. Yes, we did not have the required numbers by ourselves in Lok Sabha, and hence we could not get it passed. But this has been a long-standing demand. BJP since 2014 had the required number, and the bill had not lapsed in Rajya Sabha, the one that got passed. From 2014, in the past 9 years, BJP had absolute majority in Lok Sabha. We had been writing, both Mrs. Gandhi as well as Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the former Congress presidents, had written multiple times to the Prime Minister requesting for this bill to be passed. It has been a long-standing demand of the Congress party, and yet in 9 years, despite having, and just give me 30 more seconds, please. Despite having a complete majority, this bill was not passed. Now that it has been passed, it is an additional clause has been introduced, which was not there in the bill that got passed in 2010, mind you, which talks about having the census done, the result being published, and then the delimitation to take place. Now, my limited point is, first of all, India is the only country in G20 which has not got its census done. It was supposed to be done in 2021. COVID happened around the world, but due to the reasons related to COVID, it has not been done even in 2023. So it's a matter of great concern and shame. Number two, let the census happen, let the delimitation happen, and let whatever number of seats we come up with. But why link delimitation with woman reservation? Even then it would be 33%, even now it is 33%. How are these two concepts getting linked? It is just a ploy to grab the headlines, not to deliver, because there is no way the census and delimitation can take place before the 2024 general elections. And it is just a process of delaying the whole thing. So you have grabbed the headlines, you have met the news, but you are actually not delivering on the ground. And as an opposition,
but I asked you,
my
question to you very quickly was that, is the Congress still going to vote in favor of this bill, despite this clause?
We have been tabling this bill. We have been requesting for this bill to be passed time and again. And as Rahul Gandhi ji has stated even yesterday, that you have our unconditional support for the passage of this bill. So we support this bill, but we are very concerned about this introduction of delimitation clause, which was not there in the original bill in the Rajya Sabha,
fair enough.
Delaying the whole process by many, many years.
All right, Niti, you've been raising your hand for quite some time. Please, very quickly before I go across to our other guests.
You know, the Congress seems to forget the entire detailing of it. In 2010, it was passed in the Rajya Sabha with the help of the BJP. It could have passed in the Lok Sabha as well. So my question is, why was it that it was not passed then? In 2010, again, Sonia Gandhi ji had apparently given an interview to one of your journalists only, Shabani, and she had said that the members of her own party were not willing to pass this bill. And that has been a problem of the Congress. The NDA has tabled this bill, introduced this bill in 98, 99, 2002 and 2003, twice in 2003. Why is it that the Congress was not supporting this bill then? So you can come in today and take the high road on what needs to be done, but your own party members and your allies today, the spokespersons of which are sitting here, their members have gone ahead and torn this bill, the copy of this bill in the parliament, and that is their stand.
What about Yogi Adityanath? What about Uma Bharti, who had just given a press by?
Your intent could have been there, but you never had to will to pass it, and you will always question everything that this government does as well, because you may have had the intent to do a lot of things, but you never ended up doing anything because you were always at the hands of your allies, and you refuse to do anything about anything.
Okay,
It took
Meeta,
you
very
9
quickly,
years to
please.
even stage it. Okay, so just before I came into the show, I was in another show where I came to know that Uma Bharti ji, just about half an hour back, had given a statement against this bill. Uma Bharti ji, as far as I know, is still a BJP leader. In 2010, it was Yogi Adityanath, who is currently the chief minister, and at that time he was
you
an
please
MP,
answer about
who had
Sonia
gone
Gandhi ji.
public
You
and
please answer
who
about
had gone
Sonia Gandhi ji.
public
Don't do
and
whataboutery. I
opposed
haven't
and
heard of these statements.
who had opposed,
You tell me
who
about
had-
Sonia Gandhi ji. That
you
is
have
a
not
reflected
heard
fact.
Yogi Adityanath's
That is a
statement
fact.
opposing this bill.
That is a,
And
you tell me
Uma
about
Bharti
Sonia
ji just
Gandhi
half an
first.
hour back,
Why
do your
is it
research
that
right, ma'am,
you were in the
has
party,
gone
you were
on
in the
record and
government for a
opposed this
majority of the
and
years that
opposed
this
this
bill was
statement.
introduced.
Fact
Why
is, we
you
did
not
manage
pass
to
this
get
bill?
it passed. Fact is,
Why
we did
did
manage
you
to
not pass
implement
this
this
bill? You
in
can come and raise
panchayat
questions
and
tomorrow
urban
in the
local
parliament
bodies.
about
Okay.
And fact is, even today we are supporting this bill.
Okay,
even
can I just come
today
in?
we are
Can I just come
supporting
in?
this
Can I
bill.
just come in now? 1 second. You know, I don't think it matters if individual members of any party are opposing a bill. They can have their individual views, and some people are generally uncomfortable with reservations. They don't feel this is the right way to go about it. So let's not use that to take away from the intention of any government, whether it is current government or previous governments. But Niti, the question that will be asked, and I think it's a fair question to ask, while you go back to the UPA era, your government has had full majority, a single party majority for 9 years. So if you were that serious about this
For
bill, it
UPA.
could have been brought in much earlier than just 6 months ahead of the next general elections.
You know, this always comes into the question. Everything that happens right before the election, it is said it is because of the election. I already answered that question. For the past 9 years, Modi ji has been working on financial empowerment and social empowerment of the people, and
Okay.
now we are looking at getting more women in the parliament to help them make policy decisions as well. So women empowerment has been on the top list of Modi ji, and he has worked intent and implementation of all the schemes that he has come out with.
Okay, all right. Let me
that's
go across to
one
a couple of our other guests as well. Let me go across to Professor Naval Kishore of the RJD first up. What is the stand of the RJD today? It is one of those parties that has opposed a reservation on various accounts in the past. Today, this bill is seeming like it will finally become a reality. Are you in support of this bill and the reservation today?
See, we have never opposed reservation. Whether it was Mandal Commission, when it came in 1990, it was BJP which opposed and say that merit is being compromised. We have never opposed. We have put up the very fundamental point. If reservation is for giving representation as well as making the people empowered, then there has to be a reflection of society. The social profile must be reflected. If we are thinking of 33% of women, and it is true that women need to get representation in parliamentary system, because the experience of past 7 and 8 decades is just from 4% to 14%. That's very well required. But when we look at women in parliament, let's have the reflection of society, SC, STs, and OBCs, and also minorities. So all sections must be represented in the parliament.
So,
because
okay,
we
let's
want
get to the nitty-gritty, Mr. Kishore. SC, ST, the government has acknowledged that those 1/3 of the reserved seats will be for SC, ST women. I'm sure you're going to be in agreement of that. But as far as OBC and minorities are concerned, we don't have reservations for them as far as elected representatives is concerned. So it's impossible to carve that out in a quota like the women's reservation. So at least as it stands today, given that SC, ST women will have representation and a certain number of seats reserved for them, which are already reserved in parliament, are you going to support this bill today or not?
No, let's not be that flat in our understanding. We look at the Panchayati Raj representation. There are 50% representation. You look at the Bihar representation in Panchayati Raj. There are 50%, and quota within quota is a reality. If you look at reservation brought out by Karpuri Thakur, which was damnably opposed by the BJP and Sangh Parivar, there also you will find quota within quota. Women reservation were there. So, see, it is no, you want to take a reflection of the past that only SC, ST. You have to look at all sections which are disadvantaged, devoid of representation, devoid
Are you
of
then
empowerment.
saying, I get
We
your
have to look
objection, I get your objection, your objection seems to be the same as it was 10 years ago. Are you then saying you are not in favor of this bill even today?
No, that time also we said that we are in favor. See, look at the politics of BJP. In the past 6 months, They have been trying to find out a reason to mobilize people in their favor. One nation, one election, UCC, many kind of experiment is going on because they have lost credibility. And from a government who has lost credibility, what do you expect? They want to mislead people. Even if
One second, what is the misleading here? One second, what is the misleading here?
Yes, misleading is that before the government is going to end in the last 6 months, they are bringing this bill. And what was the need of special session?
Sir, we have
They could have brought
many other bills in the last 9 years. What is your point? इलेक्शन से पहले काम करना बंद कर दे.
नहीं काम
इलेक्शन से पहले
अरे सुन लीजिए ना पहले
इलेक्शन आ रहे हैं.
Okay, one second. Can I just not one second, Mr. Kishore, one second. I'll allow you to complete. But see, we are discussing the merits of this bill. The contours of the new bill have been tabled. We are discussing them for the first time. Let's stick ourselves to that because I think the public would want to know what the stand of the India Alliance or the India Bloc parties is. And Meeta, I think you will find it interesting that parties like the RJD, I don't know about some of the others who have opposed it historically, they still seem to be opposed because there is no OBC or minority women quota within this quota. I'll come back to you in just a bit, but let me give an opportunity to Krishank Mane as well of the BRS. Your party has been batting for a bill like this for quite some time. Mr. Kishore, I'll come back to you. For quite some time, are you happy with the contours of the bill as tabled today, and will you be in support of this?
Definitely, 100%. But one thing, see, first we want the intention of the government of India, that is there contention to pass the bill smoothly or is there intention to politicize it? Because if you are raising a debate that why didn't the previous government do, you're going for a political debate, number one. Or if the other political parties also are questioning that what happened in this 9.5 years, or if we are going into the debate that so and so politicians spoke, because we've been seeing many things. For instance, I've seen the tweets today of the BJP IT cell head, Mr. Amit Malviya, tweeting earlier when BJP was not in power that why do women need women reservation? So if we go into these statements, it will be only politically limited.
No, I don't want to go into those statements. Those statements are inevitable, but I am not discussing that. I am discussing where parties stand on the contours of this bill.
So Shivani ji, the point number one, like you've already mentioned, our party BRS, Kavita ji, when she was in Parliament 2014, in that session, she stood up in the Parliament, spoke for the women reservation. She initiated a protest in Jantar Mantar. Many opposition parties came in. And not just that, because our limitations are as a state government, we have already been implementing 50% of women reservation in the municipalities, mayors, corporations in these posts. In fact, we have 55% of women chairpersons heading our municipalities. So we will definitely support the government of India.
So you don't feel this delimitation clause is a deal breaker, that this is going to be effective only in a few years' time?
Yeah, that's the reason I've said the intention of the government of India. So see, now if we are going to give suggestions, the government of state should definitely receive it. If they try to, say that why are you raising questions, why are you raising suggestions, that is wrong. Let them have a proper debate and definitely delimitation, because see, population census is very important. You need to know which constituency, how many of women voters are there, how many of male voters are there, how are you going to, make the constituencies, the delimitation happen, because earlier it was 2026. Now each year we are seeing a lot of reports of 2029, 2031. So there cannot be a confusion, because simultaneously there are rounds doing of one nation, one election. This has come up before the crucial 5 state polls, mind you, Shivani ji, 5 state polls where Bharatiya Janata Party, most of the exit polls are saying that BJP is not going to do well, including Telangana BJP.
No, I think on the one nation, one poll or the simultaneous elections things, they formed a panel. I don't think it's coming as a legislation in any hurry, certainly not ahead of the 2024. But Niti, I'll come to you. I want to go across to Meeta ji one more time. Don't you think that this, the contentions over the Women's Reservation Bill, as from parties like the SP, they're asking for quota within quota for minorities and for OBCs as well, the RJD, other parties like this in the past. Don't you think this is going to test the unity of the India bloc as well on an important reservation like this?
Not at all, and I'll tell you why. So there is a political aspect of it, and there is a socio-political aspect of it as well. Women across political lines for decades. I still remember images of, Sushma Swaraj, Sonia Gandhi ji, everybody coming together when first this bill was tabled and when the bill was subsequently passed. So women across the political divide had been fighting for women reservation and having a proper representation of 50% of the population in the parliament as well as in the assemblies. So, and I may even add that men across the political divide in different political organizations have been raising concerns and have been protesting against this. This is a fundamental fact. We cannot shy away from it. Now, fact of the matter is, when this bill is, yes, we have originally Rajiv Gandhi ji did in 1998 propose this panchayat level and urban local body level 33% reservation. It did get implemented by P.V. Narasimha Rao ji. We did stage this in 2010. And I think we will remember as how marshals had to be brought in Rajya Sabha on the day.
No, you're not answering my question. I'm talking about the demand for minority and OBC quota within the women's reservation. That seems to be something that derailed it in the past when you were in power too. Do you think that this is an unfair demand to be made at this stage? That some political parties, including ones who are your alliance partners today, are making this demand and basically derailing the women's reservation bill?
Answering your query right now, I think every political organization is entitled to their opinion and is also entitled to providing a feedback and a suggestion to the government of the day. If the government's intention is right, the government will be open to receiving suggestions and inputs from different political organizations. It does not, however, change Congress's party's standpoint. Yes, we would provide this suggestion and feedback that please do not link it with delimitation. Please implement it straight away.
What about OBC quota?
We do not want to wait for another 4-5 years.
What about OBC quota? I'm not talking about delimitation now. I'm talking about the OBC quota and the minority quota that is the demand of some parties.
We have gone on record and stated that this was our bill in Rajya Sabha without the delimitation thing, and it has our unconditional support. Rahul Gandhi ji, as of
right, you said that. You said that already, ma'am. 1 second, please don't repeat yourself. I want to give a minute to Mr. Kishore once again. Mr. Kishore, once again, I ask you that question: that the OBC and the minority quota is for many reasons not possible. The SC/ST quota is possible. That has been incorporated. The Congress did it. The BJP government has done it too. Why don't you come on board and support it? In future, maybe an OBC quota can be added too.
Kharge ji has clearly said that OBC also must be included. I do not know whether you are aware of not. Number one. Number two, when you are thinking of women as a category in Indian politics, you must understand that it is a question of 50% of women. When you are trying to give representation to 50% women, at this time, if you are not thinking different category, which is reality of society, when are you going to give? Number one. Number two, the BJP is intent, and intent is very clear that they only want to mislead people. They are very sure that this bill, whenever it is talked, will put our point of view in the parliament, and they have also, I think, concluded that this will create rupture in India as alliance. So once more I am saying that they are ruptured by India alliance. Therefore they are coming with many things. This is not going to happen. Everybody knows. Give me 10 seconds. Just give me 10 or 20 seconds. You are in very hurry because you do not want me to speak. I might understand your compulsion.
Sir, you've spoken as much as everybody else. I don't think it's a fair accusation on your part to make, but you go ahead, take 20 seconds more.
Yes. I'm just saying that if you are thinking of representation, empowerment, you can't say that OBC do not have this kind of thing. OBC in 1952 elections were told that due to the Constituent Assembly debate, there will be some kind of commission to look into. Kaka Kalelkar committee came, then Mandal commission came, and reservation came in 1990. You will see in educational institution it came in 2008. So it is a process. Now
it is a process indeed. I'm not disagreeing with that. But that process...
That's what I'm saying.
One second, sir. One second. Now you've had your say, please. That is exactly what I'm saying. This whole OBC debate is a process. It's a process that is not complete. There are many demands that are pending. So why let that process be a hurdle as far as the women's reservation is concerned? But you made your point. Let me give a final.
No, it is already complete. It is already
can I just
complete.
quickly comment?
OBC is complete. This is last point. You know, the BJP double speak on census. They are saying that caste census cannot happen.
No, I'm sorry, I
Therefore,
can't
they have
discuss the
installed
census right now. I don't have that much time. One second,
it
please
also
stick to the
counts
issue that
women.
we are discussing. Niti Jan, I have 30 seconds left. Then I'll give 30 seconds to Mr. Mane as well. Niti, the OBC quota demand and the minority quota demand.
Is that for
Shivani,
me?
like I said, let the opposition take this to the parliament tomorrow. And about the discussion that the BRS spokesperson spoke about, I've always said, hold the government responsible, don't hold them at ransom. So without shouting and sloganeering, if you're ready to discuss this bill, the government is willing to answer and pass this bill tomorrow. And that remains the point. The very small point again, we don't have to rupture the India alliance. Even the Congress spokesperson could not answer if they stand together on a matter like this as well. So I don't know what they can stand together at. It's not the BJP that's rupturing the alliance. It never exists in the first place.
Mr. Mane, 30 seconds, final comments.
Well, I would like to make it on record that our leader, Chief Minister KCRG, has written to Honorable Prime Minister Modi regarding the OBC quota too. We are not seeing this as a separate issue, but one thing, when you're dealing with quota, definitely OBC quota also has been a long pending demand. 33% of OBC quota also has to be considered. This also has to be debated, is our request. While we are supporting for the Women Reservation Bill, which the government of India is going to table tomorrow, definitely, I think Honorable Prime Minister should consider the OBC 33% because
there has to be consensus on it. It's not just about the government considering it. There has to be consensus on it, and ultimately bills get passed because of that. Yes, Amita ji, I'll give you 15 seconds, ma'am. I have.
Yeah. So had the government really been in favor of building consensus, then why the secrecy? They could have had this, they could have introduced this bill or spoken about this bill in an all-party meeting before this start of this session. And yes, as responsible political organization, we are well within our rights to view our points, to give our suggestion back to the government of the day. If their intention is right, they will listen, they will engage, and they will try to build a consensus. That's all I have to say.
I have to wrap on that note. I do thank all of you for your time. And of course, we will take this debate forward as the bill is debated in Lok Sabha as well.